Hello guys, welcome to lesson number 64 in our series of drawing techniques for beginners. Today's video sees us start a brand new project, and I've gone for something that's quite technical. I don't know if we've maybe bitten a little bit too much off that we can chew. I've gone for this sports car. It's an image that I've had in my photographs on my camera and my laptop and whatnot for a while. It's something that I've really wanted to try and draw, particularly with all the reflections and the details. So we're going to give it a go. It might be a tricky one, but bear with us. I'm going to learn a lot as we go through the process as well. As always, we're starting with the grid method. So I've done 3 centimetre squares on both sides, and I've labelled them A to J and 1 to 6 down the side. Now, I've actually just stuck my reference image down and my paper down just so that it makes a better quality video for you guys to sort of follow. I wouldn't suggest doing this because when I'm working, I like to turn the paper around and look at different angles and whatnot. But I'm going to give it a go like this. I hope you get on well with it. I'm going to give it sort of about 35-40 minutes so that we kind of get the general gist of how things are lying. I think getting the basic structure is going to be fairly easy because we're working with a lot of straight lines. So we're going to go for the outer lines to begin with, the main structural lines, and then we're going to start adding a few of those reflections. I'm using an HB pencil for this. I don't normally start with an HB pencil if I was doing a commission because I don't want to make the lines too dark. But we're going to start anyway, and let's hope that we make a good job of it. So I'm going to look in A2, and we've got this curve to the back end of this car. Now I believe that this is a Lamborghini. My initial thoughts were that it was a Ferrari, and but just looking at this, the back area, I do believe that this is possibly a Lamborghini. I'm not entirely sure which model. I'm sure some of you out there, if you're an avid car enthusiast, may be able to point me in the right direction of the model. I might be completely off the mark. It might not be a Lamborghini. But what really caught my eye was the reflections that we've got within there and the details. It's going to be a stunning drawing if we can pull it off. So I'm just basically following this shape and this contour up and around. So I'm now into C1, and I'm just having a look at where that line lies. And just sort of following it up all the way through, and it eventually stops on F0, I guess. I've not numbered this one because I've numbered this A, so we sort of call that 0. Into E, B, C, D, where am I? So into E. Somewhere there. Now we do lose a little bit of the image because of how this is printed out, the actual size that I've gone for. So not worrying too much about that. I'm going to look for this area now. So I'm looking for D1, and I want to try and create this angle in here. It's going into C1 as well, so slightly over halfway into C1, and we've got quite a straight line. Now get some initial lines down, and then if you feel that you need to straighten some of these out by using the ruler, then by all means go for that. It is a machined mechanical object, so we do want to have straight lines. We're not being as loose as we might do if this was a face or something like that. We do want straight lines where straight lines are on the image, for sure. I'm going to go up into E. And again, I'm just filling out some of these major lines. The more information you get down on your page, the easier it is then to figure out mistakes. Your initial lines are possibly not going to be spot on. Let's have a look at this wheel arch now. So the more information, like I say, that we get down onto the page, the better. Then we can start really massaging it and just figuring out the finer details. We're training our eye. I like the grid method for that. What I don't particularly love about the grid method is the fact that we have so many lines on the paper that we don't necessarily need, and they cause issues when we try to erase them, particularly if you've gone too dark or too heavy. So I really would suggest using a very light pencil. I would potentially be using a 2H or a 4H for this, but unfortunately it doesn't show up too well on the video itself. So it doesn't make for a great tutorial. So I am using the HB pencil, but I'm being very, very light with it. If this is the first time you visited my channel, thank you so much for clicking on that thumbnail. I've been doing, this is, like I say, my 64th video in this series, Drawing Techniques for Beginners. I started off by laying down some foundations and trying to get some what I would call essential pencil skills, and they are lessons 1 to 6, so they will be above now to click on. If this is the first time, if you're a beginner, if you're completely new to drawing, I really would suggest having a go at those and having a look at those. It's very tempting to just wade in and give these things a go, but there are some valuable lessons to be had in lessons 1 to 6. So I can see now, as I'm getting a little bit more information down, that I need to just alter the shape slightly of this area. I've got my kneaded eraser with me, or also known as a putty eraser, and I'm just going to gently lift some of that away. Now, the beauty of using a light pencil and using a very light stroke is that you can easily remove some of the lines. Okay, so I'm going to, let's try and get some of this wing mirror in place now. So the corner of it is in E1, and we are slightly to left of centre, and we're slightly higher than centre. This is the beauty with the grid method. You are drawing freehand. You are learning how to see things. Let's just see where this goes. This is in G1. So we're getting the correct length. And it's almost bang in the centre before it curves away in G1. But yeah, like I was saying, this method really does teach you how to use your eyes where do certain angles meet others? Where do certain points, I'm going to look for this now, G2, G2, G3, G2, G2, okay, oh, G1, okay, so you can see straight away I've made the mistake, and it's important. I think that's a really good lesson. I've made this too low down. I needed to be in G1 there, and there you go. So I think a valuable lesson. I am not going to edit that out, because I think that people assume that when you've been drawing for a while you don't make mistakes anymore. So yeah, that's a silly mistake. So G1, I'm just double checking, and it was just slightly to the left of centre, and now I've got this angle also to work with, and that's that, I'm afraid, is a consequence of trying to talk and plot this quite detailed drawing out actually. So there's a slight angle to this, and then we're coming down into this region here. Okay, and then this column almost sits perfectly with my guideline there. Okay, so let's look for this angle now. So we know it's in this G2 area. It's sitting quite low, and it's definitely over to the left. And we're coming up to this point, so that's E2, and we're well over to the left. It's almost where I placed the initial mark when I was in the wrong place. It's almost falling in the same area as that. And then this continues on down. I believe that in 64 lessons, that is the first major mistake that I have made, which is a first. Okay, but as you can see, we're okay with that. We continue to adapt and learn from these things. So this is coming quite a long way down now. I'm looking for this point, so G3. I'm going to be constantly looking for any of these little mistakes now. I'm conscious of it. And then this does curve up. Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much for clicking on the thumbnail. It does mean a lot to me. I know that some of you have been with me for quite a while now. It's been fantastic seeing some of your work over on the group. So if you've not found our YouTube channel yet, oh sorry, the Facebook group, you're on the YouTube channel now, I would suggest. Check us out. It's called Tutorial Tuesdays Beginner to Pro. And my aim with that was to create a group where we sort of learn and share together, but we're basically going through these drawings and these tutorials together. I'm looking for this point now, which meets up to there, so I'm definitely in E and I'm in E1, so I'm here to here. Wherever I can find a line or an angle that intersects one of my guidelines, I want to get that down as soon as I can, because it's very easy to get the placement of something that intersects one of those lines correct. So I'm going to take this one, this reflection, I guess, that's in the window, so F0, which is somewhere up here, and we're slightly over, and it's coming down at this angle to meet the wing mirror. And then we've got this line of the door frame, I'm guessing this is, and this sits down into that area. But yes, I created the group and wanted to just kind of share some of the ideas and information that I've picked up over the years. Sort of 3 years now I've been drawing for, and sorry, I'm just trying to look for... I'm going to come to this point here, D2. So D2, where does that shadow line, almost that crease, was sort of there, and we're running to there. Now this is certainly a position that I would turn my paper around and try and get as accurate a line as possible there. So I'm making sure that I definitely press on very lightly here, because I'm going to need to straighten this out for sure. So we're coming down into D2 there, and it's going to continue on. The next one that it really crosses over is D3, the bottom of, sorry, F3, which is there, somewhere here. So let's have a look where we are. And you can see my method of trying to plot this line out. It gives me a finishing point. And then the next one is coming down. It's going to continue down to G4. G4, and then we're back up into that area. Okay, so let's have a look at this air intake now. So we've got a corner there, that's in B3, and we are sitting quite a way up. It's coming all the way down to 5, B5, so I'm slightly out here. And it's amazing that you can be out by a fraction at one point. If the angle's slightly off as we draw the initial, make the initial mark, we can be quite a way off at the bottom. So I could see that this, as this bent round, it was too far away. So this corner now is quite a way over to the right of the box, and it's coming up into just beyond the centre mark, the centre point of that box there. Okay, so my next straight line is going up from there, so I'm looking for this corner, so it's in 3D, D3, which is there, and it's quite close to the left hand side and quite a long way up, somewhere there. And then this is running straight down. Okay, so let's see where that... So we've got a kind of dog leg in there. We're looking at C2. It's at the very bottom of C2, somewhere there. We have this mark, and then this intake comes around. can see I was just slightly off. There, okay. So yeah, we've done quite a few projects now. It's been a lovely journey. We've done some animals and some portraits, and I just thought we'd give this one a try. So far, so good. I think we're doing a pretty decent job of plotting this out. But I've made the group so that you can also share your progress, but also share your work. You know, what else are you working on? Are you doing any commissions? Do you need any advice? There's some brilliant members in the group, and I'm really pleased to say that we're not full of spammy nonsense, political posts and whatnot that I am noticing on Facebook more often now. There's a lot more of this type of spammy post, but we're a pretty grown-up group. I'm enjoying seeing some of your work on there. C2 is up here. We're coming. Okay, so now I can see that these lines are beginning to come together quite nicely now. I used to draw an awful lot of transformers. They were something that I started off with, and this reminds me an awful lot like doing those. When you've got these very straight lines and you've got these geometric shapes, I just find them slightly easier to plot out than, let's say, a face. For this reason, you can look at the start point and the finish point and kind of map your way out from there. Okay, let's get this shadow in. So we're looking at the point of the shadow is in C3. It's somewhere there, so that I now know that this curves around. We've got this honeycomb type of intake here, this metal shape to it. That's going to be fun to draw, because it's white. Or it's very close to white. It might not be exactly white, but we've got this honeycomb shape in there, and we need to represent that. So coming down from the side now, we have got looks like an indentation that runs parallel to the intake, and it's these details that are going to give us a great opportunity of creating realism, particularly with the reflections. We're going to create contrast, and we're going to really look for some smooth transitions. So we're going to layer our pencil quite a lot. Okay, so I think we need to start getting a little bit more of this reflection. I'm guessing the metal comes in. That's why this is darker. The light's reflecting from this side. So this is again, it's an indentation, I would say. So we're looking for the corner of it in D3. We've done a lot of work in this area already. I'm just mapping this out. I know this line doesn't come all the way down and around, but I'm just getting the general shape of it, and I can then massage it a little bit. Only comes out. Okay, so I was slightly wrong there. It fans out a little bit here. A little bit more than I've got. I was just off slightly on the angle, but like I say, this is the beauty of this method, that we are training our eye, and what your eye sees initially isn't always bang on. like I say, the more information you get down on the page, the easier it is then to spot any of your slight mistakes. So this now tends to come down. So maybe not quite at the right angle there. Okay. Very good. So far, so good. Okay, let's have a look at this bar that comes down across the window. So we're looking in H3, and we're in this region, and it's all the way up into I1. And I love to find the start and finish point, and then I can really make one big swoop of the pencil. I'm pulling this pencil towards me. I'm doing something called a tapered stroke. So now I'm in this area here. We can see the edge of the door, and it just fits together like a puzzle. You start to then see the next area that is going to develop. It flows together. So now we're into this area, we can now get a feel for the angle that this window is sitting on. It's quite an acute angle there. It's quite a steep front window, I'm guessing, going towards a very sloped and slanted windscreen. Somewhere there. This is coming kind of, yeah, we can just about make out before we lose the detail of the roof there. Fab. Let's have a look where this is coming. So it's protruding out and meeting the wing mirror at that angle. Okay. So this wheel arch, let's see where that starts. So it's in J4, very near to the top. So it's swooping there, and it exits in the corner here. So I need to get that swooping motion going there and round. I'm using my hand like a compass. I'm anchoring my knuckle of my little finger down, and I'm pivoting around. Now I've got the points at which the wheel exits and enters certain points of the squares, the reference squares. I can then, so we're going to do the same now with this tyre. So I'm looking for that one, which is the end of I, and it's 5, I5, there, and it's this type of angle to there. It doesn't follow exactly the same line that the wheel arch does. And as you can see, the way this tyre is angled, it's thinner down at the bottom than it is towards the top. So again, that's something that we want to try as best as we can to create. I guess it's the perspective, the angle we're looking at. Okay, so I'm looking at the time now and we're on sort of 32 minutes, and I do like to try and keep these videos to about 30 minutes. So I'm sort of going to leave you with that now and just continue the method that we've been going through, and just try and get as much detail down as we can. The more details we can get onto the paper, the better. It's going to make the process of filling out the values much easier. Try and plot the major reflections in there. I think this is probably going to take me another 35 minutes. Just looking for the top of this wheel there. Play around with it, have some fun. Don't forget to come and find us over on the Facebook group, Tutorial Tuesdays Beginners to Pro. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you turn the notifications icon on, you'll know when I drop a new video. I'm doing 2 a week at the moment. I'd like to ramp that up a little bit, but time at the minute is in short supply. Try and erase any of these lines as you go that you don't need. Yeah, I look forward to seeing how you get on with this. This is going to be quite a project. We're going to start with the dark areas, the dark shadowed areas to begin with at the start of lesson 35. So get as much detail down as you can. I've quite enjoyed doing that. It's quite therapeutic, and I think we've got quite a good representation of our, I think it's a Lamborghini. I might be wrong, but yeah, have a go, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Hit subscribe, smack the notifications button, follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.